learners. Welcome to Education Online program. I'm teacher Regina, teaching you biology for Senior 3 and Senior 4. Our topic is Biochemistry of Photosynthesis and Respiration. These are the two biochemical processes that go together. Before we could proceed, we need to know what's meant by biochemistry. Biochemistry is a branch of science, specifically branch of chemistry dealing with the study of chemical processes in living things. And we know very well that photosynthesis and respiration, these are two biochemical processes taking place within the cell of living organisms. Biochemistry deals with the study of chemical processes in the living things. Biochemistry deals with the study of chemical processes in the living things. Yes, as I've said, the body of living things is normally made up of chemical substances, let me put it like that. Because when you look at the cells, because all these two biochemical processes, they take place within the cell of the living things. And the cell itself also, it is made up of structural component and at the same time chemical components. That's why these two biochemical processes are able to take place within the cells. So if we are studying the biochemistry of photosynthesis, that means we want to see, because photosynthesis is a biochemical, it is a biochemical reactions. That chemical reactions take or undergo several chemical reactions. It's not just simple like it is presented by the equation. The chemical equation for photosynthesis: carbon dioxide plus water to form what? The glucose plus oxygen. So when we look at this chemical reaction, we may think that it just happened easily like this, but it is a complex process. That means it undergoes several chemical reactions for it to give or to form the organic compound, which is carbohydrates or the simple sugar glucose, then giving out what? Oxygen, or keeping some of the oxygen for respiration. Light is here. Chlorophyll is here. This example for the photosynthesis. So we want to look at the biochemistry of photosynthesis. First, how the chemical reactions or photosynthesis take place for it to yield these products like this. Biochemistry of photosynthesis. Biochemistry of Photosynthesis. Yes, we know the raw materials of photosynthesis are two: carbon dioxide and water, which are the reactants. If the chemical reactions of photosynthesis, or if you are writing the chemical equation of photosynthesis, we have reactants and products. So the reactants are known as raw material. The raw material of photosynthesis are the raw materials of photosynthesis are carbon dioxide or carbon 4 oxide and water. This is the raw material. And this process takes place during sunlight or in the presence of sunlight. What are needed? Sunlight or the energy light plus chlorophyll. The chlorophyll is the green pigment on the leaves of the plant. Then the light from the sun plus this raw material to give us what? To give us the product like carbohydrates. Carbohydrate like example glucose. And photosynthesis normally takes place in plant cell only. It takes place in plant cell. It takes place in plant cells only. Which part is specifically? Chloroplast. And chloroplast is one of the structures of cell. We said that photosynthesis takes place in the plant cell specifically the chloroplast. This is where the photosynthesis takes place in plant cell in the presence of energy light, which is from sun, plus the chlorophyll, which is here. So this equation can be represented as follows: plus water, carbon dioxide, plus water in the presence of sunlight plus the chlorophyll. The products are the glucose plus oxygen. Let us balance it. But these reactions, it is very complex. It's not easy as it is presented here. Since it is very complex, that means it undergoes several chemical reactions for it to reach to this stage. This one undergoes several chemical reaction. That's why these chemical reactions, because we say it very complex, it takes or it occurs in two stages, in two different stages. In two different stages. Stage number one is light stage. Light stage. Number two is dark stage. Just the two stages this chemical reaction can take for it to give the last product, the glucose plus oxygen. This oxygen is given out to the atmosphere, or some can be kept in the plant for respiration. Under this stage, the reaction that takes place under this stage, which is known as light stage, that reaction cannot take place without light. Cannot take place without light. That's why it can be called as light dependent stage. Light dependent stage. It depends on the presence of light for it to occur, this reaction. And this where the water molecule, this one here, is split into carbon and hydrogen, into hydrogen and oxygen atoms. This stage, or the chemical reaction that takes place under this stage, which is light dependent stage, this where the water molecules is split into hydrogen and oxygen atoms in the presence of light and chlorophyll. So the equations is presented as follows. The chemical equation. The chemical equation H2O here the light, the sunlight, then here the chlorophyll will give us hydrogen atom plus oxygen atom. Here the water molecule is split into hydrogen atom and oxygen atom through the energy light or sunlight, and this sunlight is absorbed through chlorophyll, the green pigment on the leaves of the plant. In this stage, when the water molecule is split into these two atoms, then the remaining or the rest of the light absorbed by the chlorophyll is kept to be changed into ATP, which is a source of energy. This stage here doesn't consume energy. Instead, it provides what? Energy. In this chemical reaction, this hydrogen atom will later enter into this stage, the dark stage. That means it remains there because coming to enter to this stage, dark stage. But oxygen is given out to the atmosphere, or some of it can be kept by the plant for the respiration or for respiration. Because respiration is one of the characteristics of life, and plant is also a living thing. So this process of splitting water into hydrogen atom and oxygen atom, known as photolysis of water. The process known as photolysis of water. Because water is split it into hydrogen atom and oxygen, then the hydrogen atom is kept because later on coming to enter into the dark stage, while the oxygen will be given out to the atmosphere, or some of it can be kept for the respiration in a plant. Some of the light observed by the chlorophyll also can be kept and changed into or converted into ATP. That means this is the source of energy, and this energy is prepared for the coming stage, which is dark stage. That dark stage is consuming energy, while light stage doesn't consume energy. Instead, it provides energy. And this ATP is an abbreviation of adenosine triphosphate. This is it. Adenosine triphosphate. Let's come to the second stage, which is dark stage. This dark stage takes place in all the time. That means it doesn't have a specific time because it doesn't depend on light. So anytime the reaction here can occur. That's why this stage is known as light independent stage. Light is independent stage. Let's come to see what is taking place in this dark stage or light independent stage. As I've said, this stage doesn't need light. That's why it can happen anytime, whether there's light or there's no light. So in this stage, now, the carbon dioxide, this one left here, because this one not touched. What happened? Just the splitting of water to give us the two atoms. So in dark stage, now, this carbon dioxide is combined with the hydrogen that produced the time water was split. Because I've said this hydrogen is kept because later on going to enter into dark stage, but the oxygen was released. So this stage where carbon dioxide is combined with the hydrogen atom, produced when the water was split. This one to form what? Intermediate produced from the first stage. So when we combine this carbon dioxide with this hydrogen atom, they will form intermediate product. Giving what? Giving up intermediate product. This intermediate product, let me present it in a chemical equation. Carbon dioxide is combined to the hydrogen atom. This will give us intermediate product plus 2. This is the intermediate product. And this process where carbon dioxide is added to hydrogen atom, known as carbon 4 oxide fixation or carbon dioxide fixation. The process known as carbon 4 oxide fixation. In this stage, the intermediate product will undergo further reactions. The intermediate product undergoes further reactions to give us carbohydrates or to form carbohydrates. Carbohydrates is sugar. The simple unit of sugar is glucose, which is this one. Glucose. So this now the last stage where the glucose is formed. Now this glucose, some of them can be used by plant, and the remaining or the rest will be converted into, this one can be converted into starch. The one kept in the plant will be converted in starch, and this is where, or this what we, when we eat the plant, we are getting it. We are getting it for ourselves with the animal. So in addition to glucose, even fatty acids and amino acids are formed from these intermediate products. Amino acid, this is the smallest unit of protein. Fatty acid, this is the smallest unit of lipids. When we talk about lipids, we mean oil or fat. If it is in the body of the animal, we call it fat. If it is in the body of plant, it is oil. But generally, they are lipids. So that means these intermediate products can produce glucose, at the same time can produce lipids and proteins. So these reactions consume energy. This energy is driven from the first stage when the sunlight was converted into ATP, adenosine triphosphate.